Click the link below to download this as a podcast.
Download and listen to this on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast provider. Just check the description below.
What I thought I'd start doing is start a diary.
Okay, why?
Just 'cause I sort of had a bit of time on my hands and that. Just thought, write it down, write stuff down.
And do you hope that this one day will become one of the great literary documents like Samuel Pepys' diary?
I haven't heard of that. Is it any good?
You've never heard of Samuel Pepys' diary?
No,
the most famous diary other than probably Anne Frank's.
I've heard of Anne Frank's and that, and I thought if she's sat in a loft, knocking stuff up, not much going on in her life at that point, yet she was still writing it down.
Yeah, whereas
I'm
you'd
on
be
holiday.
area, yeah.
I thought, so there is stuff going on that I can chat about. Start a diary.
Sure.
You started a diary?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Did you keep it up every day?
Yeah, just...
Oh, can I read it, please?
Well, a diary's meant to be sort of...
Please, can I read some out on this podcast? Karl.
Some of it, though, is only relevant to me. It's sort of...
Oh, this is... Please, give me it. Oh, my God.
I mean, this isn't... I haven't just...
Look how big it is!
It's one of those desk diaries.
It's huge. It's about a foot long, and it's Oh, that is amazing. Imagine if Anne Frank had been like that. As she got out... Right. Everyone would have heard it clang down on the desk.
Yeah, but my writing's quite big, isn't it?
Oh, look! Give us that.
Do you know about joined up writing? Have you heard about
This
that?
is
No point.
amazing.
Sometimes you can't read it, can you? So it's
Right,
best
okay.
to look at ancient times.
Oh my God! It starts on the first day. This is wonderful. Going on holiday to Gran Canaria today. Woke up to the news that Tony Banks had died. There was a piece on the news about how everyone was shocked. Got me thinking about an invention that would be good. Right, a watch that counted down your life. If it says you've got 3 days left, go to the doctors. Told Suzanne about invention. She said she wouldn't buy one. But she said that about the iPod.
How would this device work, this watch? I mean, how would you know when you were about to die? Is that a concern? Again, not for you to worry about, presumably the boffins and stuff.
No, all I was thinking is that Tony Banks fella, he died and everyone was shocked about it. But if you had like a little watch on...
But how does it work? You can't just say, wouldn't it be good? How would this work? Yeah, I imagine you in the patent office going, got an idea. They go, oh, certainly, Mr. Pilkington, what's your idea? Watch that counting down your life. Oh, how does that work?
Just wear it, just pop it on your wrist.
No, what do you mean, just pop it on your wrist? How does it work? Just pop it on your wrist. Brilliant. You're an idiot.
Well, it's interesting that he goes on. The flight to Gran Canaria was a bit bumpy. I thought about the clock that counts down your life again, and I wondered if it would know if you were going to die in a disaster. Now he's querying his own life. He's
wondering if he would know. He's invented this,
and now he's not even sure. A fellow on the plane was reading Koi Mag. It was a fishing magazine. I glanced over and noticed he was reading the Pond of the Month article. Don't think they could make it into a weekly magazine. Well, to be fair to you, because I remember seeing a guy on the train once reading Carp Monthly, a magazine dedicated entirely to carp, and it had Carp of the Month. And I just thought, once you're like 3 months in, the editor must be stressing, have we got any more carp? We got a carp that's actually done anything?
I reckon if they used the same one twice, there wouldn't be many complaints.
No one would be noticing.
No, that's the carp they used 2 years ago.
There was a really fat bloke on the plane. He was playing on his PSP. While I waited to go to the toilet, I looked at what game he was playing. It was darts. He's that fat and lazy, he can't even face playing a more active game on a games console. Me and Suzanne got off the coach along with a couple of old people. One of them was in a wheelchair. I don't think it was wise of them to come to a volcanic island with a wheelchair. Everywhere's pretty rough paving and slopey. Guess I'll keep an eye on it as the weeks go on. Day 2 in Gran Canaria.
Brilliant, we're only at day 2.
The hotel's a bit odd. I've never seen as many cross-eyed people in one location.
That's enough, isn't it?
That's amazing!
Well, you may as well let me read on a bit more.
No, this is amazing.
Well, come back to
This
it
is a
later
brilliant diary. This might be the best diary ever written. Oh.
While sat listening to the Kinks on my iPod, I wondered if everybody thinks in their accent. I know I do. What's this? What are you talking about?
Just that, when I've been sat there lying on the lounger, right, and I was thinking about stuff.
How do you know you think in your accent? Tell me a typical thought.
Because what I mean is, say if I was like, if I saw something, right, do you know how I say, like, oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
No, but
that was
I don't
being
have
said.
to. But when you think, I don't think the sentence is like I'm saying it. It's just a thought. The thought appears. It's conceptual and it's already there. It's not like I go, Rick, what? Just looking at that fellow over there, were you? Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was thinking it looks a bit weird. Oh, so was I. I don't think out whole sentences.
Whereas you have Carl, stop listening to the Kinks for a minute. Look over there. More cross-eyed people.
No, well, that's yeah. That's
Is that how
kind
your
of-
mind works?
In a way, yeah. And
Brilliant.
that's when because I
That
thought
explains a lot.
It's great that he has to think about whole sentences.
because I thought that's weird, isn't it? Like I didn't think that's weird, isn't it? And I thought I actually think in my accent. And then I thought, does Stephen Hawking, does he when he's doing his maths and that? Is he? I don't know where he's from, so I don't know what his accent would be like.
I think he's from Kent or Cambridge or Oxford. Or something.
Right. So
So you think he might think in his
voice, in that voice box
computerised
thing.
voice?
Just wondered.
Had lunch inside today due to shite weather. Sat next to an old fella. Old men's ears and noses carry on growing as they get older. Suzanne noticed his fingers were fat too. Maybe they continue to grow. Suzanne didn't laugh when I said her arse had the same problem. Day 3, cloudy start to the day. Had pie and chips in a cafe. Had a bit of an argument with Suzanne because I thought it was daft that we were paying for food when we were on an all-inclusive holiday. Changed my mind when I saw they sold pie though. The cafe was called Tattoos. The fellow who owned it didn't have any tattoos. But we never saw his wife.
Oh, brilliant!
Had a drink in a bar. Everyone sat and watched one of the local cats lick its bollocks.
It's the greatest holiday in the world! That's the entertainment in that town!
Went back to the hotel and had a sleep before tea. I love the fact you're moaning about old people, but you're just as bad.
You've done nothing so far!
He's done nothing, he's got me hip.
Oh, God.
Woke up to news about ducks being badly treated. There was a really ugly one with bent legs.
I'm gonna die! Why does he write this down? Oh, God. Oh.
There is a fat bloke from Bolton who is in the pool as I write this. He's got a big tattoo on his back, but I can't work out what it is. ... He just got out of the pool and burped. You just felt like you had to keep us abreast of that.
Everything's in the diary. I've just seen it get to the point where you're going, breathed in,
Yeah.
breathed out again.
There was a big fat fella in the sea who kept his t-shirt on. If you're big and fat, is there more chance of you getting burnt because there's more of you on show? I asked Suzanne and she said she didn't know in that sort of not listening kind of way. I wanted to hang about to see if the fat bloke was going to get in the kayak, but Suzanne said we had to head back. Just let him waiting to see if he's going to capsize. We go home today, so we got up early to get the last bit of cloud.
No, it's just that it wasn't. It's not that sunny all the time. I mean, I was sat in weather that if it was like that here, there's no way I'd be sat in the garden. But because you're on holiday, it's like, well, we've got to sit in it. Put your coat on.
So are you going to continue to write this diary? Every single day?
It's amazing. Keep this diary up. It's amazing.
No, I will keep it up, because what I find as well is, I think earlier on, before I went away, I think I did learn something, and because I wrote it down, I remembered it a bit better. So
What was that?
I just was thinking then, I forgot it now, but but I remembered looking back at it and not having to read it all, because I remembered the end of it before I read it, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're...
It's a regular feature now when we read from Karl's diary. Karl decided to keep a diary. He's gone through with it. I can see it there. It's massive. It's a huge desk diary that he has to carry around with him, and the pages are getting full up. You're really keeping to this.
Yeah.
Right, this is extracts from Karl's diary.
Did podcast and went for an Italian with Ricky and Steve. Italian place is good. We've been there a few times. I always have the same thing, spaghetti. Can't remember what everyone else had. Last time we went there, Steve had little octopuses with pasta. You could see that they were octopuses. They hadn't been cut up or anything. My rule is that I only eat stuff that looks nice when it's alive. A cow, a chicken, some fish. An octopus is an odd-looking thing alive. Even worse when it's dead and limp. It looks like it just shouldn't have been sat in the spaghetti.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ricky drew another picture of my head. We've given a few of them away as prizes, but he draws so many of them that they won't be worth as much anymore. Everyone will eventually have one. Like those pictures of a boy crying that caused houses to burn down in the 1980s.
What does that mean?
What are you talking about?
Don't you remember I mean, if you're listening in America, they might not have made it over there.
Is it the sort of like the sugary ones with kids? Like, is it Techikov or something?
It's just some kid. My aunt in Ora had one, and it was just like a kid with like a blue jumper on, and it's like a painting, not a photo.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And he's just crying.
Like a chocolate box. It's really awful, sort of sugary.
And what happened is they found out that a load of houses were being set on fire or burst into flames, whatever. And the weird thing was,
oh, it's bollocks.
every house that burnt down had that photo.
Yeah, because every house had that picture in the fucking 70s and 80s. Idiot. It's like, we're linking it to sinks. Every house that's ever burned down had a sink. You're talking shit again. Carry on.
Wednesday. Saw a homeless bloke. I'm surprised that no companies have thought about sponsoring the homeless. Something like a clothing company. Give them some clothes that have an advert on the back. Everyone's a winner.
Good idea.
Not bad, is it?
Got on the tube to Camden. Read in a free newspaper that hedgehogs could be gone by 2025. I think I've seen more dead hedgehogs than alive ones anyway, so I don't think I'll miss them. Went round to Ricky's house and had a game of pool. It should have been nice and relaxing, but Jane gave me some cake, and Ricky said I can't play pool if my hands are all sticky from cake.
It was the sugar, and it wasn't that either. After he'd finished it, they weren't just sticky, he was licking his fingers, sucking his fingers off, and then was going to pick up pool cues and touch things, and I was thinking, go and wash your hands after licking your hands. You're not a cat.
This turned into an argument when I said I didn't want to wash my hands.
Why didn't he?
He goes for a piss all the time without washing his hands, and then squeezes my head. I know I prefer to have lemon cake crumbs on my head than knob juice. Was going to do a crossword, but I'm tired and have learnt enough today.
What have you learned?
Well, the stuff about hedgehogs and that.
Oh, God.
Was on my way to my mates, and I got on a train. Got close to a station, but realised I needed a wee. Was about to go in a cubicle when a blind man with a dog, who was bumbling his way through the walkway, came around. I said, "Are you after the toilet?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "It's on your right." I shouldn't have let him go first, as he took ages, and it would be my stop soon. The dog waited outside the cubicle. I was going to stroke it, but then I remembered someone telling me that you shouldn't. Don't know
Why
why that
not?
is.
Because something to do with the owner should be the only one who sort of deals with that dog, and you shouldn't.
Well, you shouldn't stroke it because you'll cover it in fucking lemon cake.
No, but just because, you know, if you stroke it and that, it might like me and want to go off with me, and he'll come out and be lost and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure, but I just thought.
Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings, as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. And Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him, as I felt that he'd probably had a better day than me.
Oh, God.
Suzanne called me to say she'd gone for a haircut, and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town. And that if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that
What, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket? I'm in the supermarket. Alright, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly, because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us, as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style.
Brilliant.
I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head, and a close-cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, "What do you think of this cut?" I said it looked alright, as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do it so they could keep an eye on whatever you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's Dance Club just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's Dance Club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
About 45 minutes.
And, yeah, a mate sort of said, oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics and that, you're doing your body popping, right? Body popping and that. He said, you ought to come to Twiggy's. And, I went there, but I didn't go in, it was shut. They were just having like loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think like they were like using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that. So I said, oh, I've come to have a dance. And like, oh, not tonight. Come back tomorrow. I never went back.
Brilliant. What a waste of an anecdote. Right. Brilliant.
Just to recap, you're convinced then that the teachers are asking you to keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary, as there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday, as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean like, say if, you know, they run out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, look, do you mind if we make a programme on you? And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker. Right,
No. Sorry. People with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
Alright then. Some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been playing Operation?
What I mean is the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It's the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires going out of it.
Look what we can do with science.
And he's going,
goodbye.
I feel ill.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is great.
This makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington.
I don't know why that's so funny. Oh, God.
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington. I opened it, and the first sentence read, Dear Mr. K. Dilkington, you're one of our most valuable customers. I put it in the bin. Thought I would learn some new words, as Steve always says I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word wew means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing that right?
Who's using that word? Who is using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the window. It's like a child like in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know!
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, they said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't gonna solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, I know I'm about 'cause I dream. Doesn't work for everything 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. Sunday, got up. Sunny day, so went for a walk in the park. There was a bloke walking down the street who was whistling. Some kind of annoying tune. He seemed quite happy with himself. Do people only whistle when they're happy? I don't whistle very much.
It's a good point. Whistling is so inane to me. But yeah, it's sort of like going, I'm content, it really is that thing that if they go, you go, well, Mr. Mellors, I'm afraid, I've got some bad news. Not only has your wife died, but you've lost the house. Thanks, Doctor.
Wouldn't happen, would it?
No, you don't whistle when
yeah.
you're sad. The other place you hear it, of course, is changing rooms. And that's men going, I'm whistling, so I'm not looking at your cock. How could I be? I'm concentrating on whistling.
The lake was frozen over where I was walking. The ducks looked worried. They were sat on the edge of the lake waiting for it to melt. Were they, Karl?
Yeah, we just sat there looking, sort of going, oh, what's going on? I don't know. How long is a duck's memory? Because I wondered whether they're going, this doesn't seem right, but I don't know why.
I asked Suzanne why ducks don't use their wings much. They seem to walk and swim more and don't bother using their wings. Suzanne said she had to call her mum and dad, so I never got an answer.
The old excuse! Suzanne, I can't talk now, Karl.
Gotta phone my mum. There was a marathon-type run going on in the park. It reminded me of the time when we were moving flat. It was the day of the London Marathon. Me and Suzanne were walking down the middle of the road taking some stuff to our new flat. I was carrying a lamp and a kitchen bin. People were clapping me, thinking I was doing some kind of fun run.
Why were you walking on the same route?
Because it was when we lived on the Docklands.
Oh, brilliant.
There was no other route. The flat was just about 100 yards down the road.
They're going, look at the bloke with the bald wig. He's carrying a lamp and a bin.
Took a bag of old clothes to Oxfam. It was just old T-shirts and a couple of jumpers with holes in it. I don't think anyone will buy them. But the Oxfam is closer to the flat than the wheelie bin is. On the tube on the way back home, saw an advert for a book about a woman who works in a funeral home. She went into work one day, she goes to work on a body, she takes the sheet off of one of the bodies, and it looks exactly like her. This is called a doppelganger.
What's a doppelganger to you?
It's the thing I read about him ages ago where someone was walking down the street.
Yeah, and he sees somebody who looked a bit like him.
And no, this was weirder than that.
Go on.
He remembers, like, going down that street as a kid on his bike, whistling.
Yeah.
And then he's walking down the street, going to get some milk or whatever from the shop. Little bike comes whizzing past. He hears the whistling, he goes, that's weird. Looks at it, it was him when he was a kid. So it's like a time.
Shit. What do you mean it was him as a kid?
This is like a different form of doppelganger. It's just
Well, it's impossible, it's rubbish.
some sort of time thing, isn't it?
No, it's
time,
but that's impossible, so don't
It's
worry
just some
about
kind
it.
of time thing, Rick. No.
Yeah,
just
it's
some
something
kind
you
of time
read
thing.
again on the internet, or it was a short story, or something someone told you.
On my walk back from the tube, I saw a jogger who was pushing a pram at the same time. The kid looked terrified. Got my science book out. It said that the static you get on the telly when a channel isn't tuned in properly is radiation that is still knocking about from when the Big Bang happened. I thought about the Big Bang and wondered if it was really a Big Bang, or did it just sound louder as there was no other noise to drown it out.
Good point, though, isn't it?
Karl's diary, Rick, never ceases to amaze. More from that next week.
I don't believe it, he's written it down!
Well, that's the jingle that signals it's time for more extracts from Karl's diary, and we'll lunge straight into it. Wandered down Carnaby Street. There was a happy homeless fella. I gave him £1.50. I thought of a tongue twister after giving him the money. It goes, if you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
It's good, that.
All
Say
right.
it fast.
If you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
Good, isn't it?
Good, that, yeah. You've got too much time on your hands, Karl.
Learned some famous quotes to see if they are as good as my sayings. Number 1, treat every day as if it's your last. Very famous saying. Now, is that something you do, Karl?
But you know, me problem with that one is that if it was your last, you wouldn't want to be doing much. That's the only problem I've got with that. I wouldn't want to, you know, go to a fairground or whatever, because you're going, oh, it's my last day, what am I going to do? And I think you'd spend so much time worrying about what you're going to do that you'd end up staying in.
I think you're right. You've taken some of the poetry out of it. I think it means live life to the fullest, right?
I like the fact that you were musing on the idea that if it was your last day, you'd go to the fair. It's getting such a 19th century way of spending your final day.
I know, yeah. Well, the thing is, the other thing is that, the only thing that people get depressed about in terms of sort of like, you know, life and death is, not the knowledge that they're gonna die, but more the knowledge that they know they're gonna die when they're dying. If someone told you, no one ever knows when they're gonna die, no one ever gets an illness, no one ever gets hit by a truck, everyone passes away peacefully in their sleep, dreaming they're riding a big marshmallow, right? Then you wouldn't care about anything. It wouldn't matter when, it wouldn't matter if you died tomorrow or in 30 years' time. You'd just live life to the full. You'd have it, every day would be great. You'd go out, you'd come back, you'd fall asleep. That would be amazing. There'd be no stress. There'd be no angsty, we're all gonna die stress, because it wouldn't matter. Because it would just be your life. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone guaranteed you, Karl, you're gonna die in your sleep? I'm not gonna tell you when.
Yeah, but some people do, don't they?
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
but we never know we're going to, because we stress. What if we get a dreadful illness? What if we, you know...
But we're almost not letting people die naturally anymore, are we? Because we're always bodging stuff up.
What do you mean?
Well, someone who might naturally die in the sleep aren't allowed to naturally die in the sleep because they wake them up with those electric things and get them going again and pop in a new lung or whatever whilst they're at it. That's what I'm saying. They don't just... You never hear it anymore, do you? Frank peacefully died in his sleep. No, he died on the operating table whilst we were putting in a new lung. They don't die naturally anymore.
Frank died peacefully with 40,000 volts going through them and a couple of people going, clear! Clear!
Rushing about today. Got to get a lot done as I'm flying to Malaga tomorrow to see my mum and dad. Don't like flying. I'd be happy if they give you a parachute instead of a life jacket. They say Da Vinci invented the parachute as well as the helicopter. He never got round to making them though, because he only drew them on some paper. Got up at 5 AM as I had to get to Heathrow to get on the plane to see mum and dad in Malaga. Went out for a drink with a cousin who lives in Spain. Ain't seen her for 27 years. Oh, that must have been tricky, making conversation.
I didn't really bother. Because where do you start? I might as well go up to anyone in the street and start having a chat.
Yeah, you have to get further back than, did you want Chantal to win Big Brother?
Yeah. Me dad and me talked about history. I said we shouldn't go on about things that happened ages ago because I bet something similar has happened more recently.
Brilliant.
Read about an island in the Indian Ocean where there are tribesmen still living like they're cavemen. A helicopter tried to land and the tribesmen chucked spears at them. This is what I meant about not having to talk about things that happened ages ago. We have got new cavemen now, so why do we talk about the old ones? People could have lived before, but computers and all that blew up and books got burnt, so all they had left was what these tribesmen have got left.
Ramblings
That's the ramblings
man
of a maniac. That's just a few hours before you go crazy with a gun in the...
No, but what I mean there is, right, say if all this has happened before, right, podcasting's been happening years ago, something happens.
Again, a lot of information from the Planet of the Apes.
Something happens, world ends, right, we come back again somehow.
Yeah. It's the detail you leave out that makes you intriguing. Just like the watch that you can wear that tells you when you're going to die. How does it work? Pop it on your wrist. That's all the detail you need. So the world happened. We came back.
Have you seen the pictures? Forget it then if you don't get it.
It's interesting that you had all those profound thoughts about this period in the past when they all lived, but you still found it appropriate to include at the end of that. It says the tribesmen wave their knobs about when they've had enough of having visitors.
That's what it said in the paper. That's what happens. They're quite happy.
What paper is this that you're reading?
It was in like a paper a couple of days ago. It said they don't mind having visitors if they're bringing them coconuts and stuff that they can eat. Once they've got everything they need, they start waving the tackle about, and that means like, right, leave now. Which you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, at a dinner party.
My grandfather used to do that. Got a book sent to me called Freaks. It's a bit heavy, but it's got some interesting pictures in it. Read a bit about the two-headed nightingale. She/they was on tour in London years and years ago. It cost 2 shillings to have a front row seat. She/they had 2 heads/2 arms and 4 legs. They are called Siamese twins because the first twins that were born stuck together were Siamese. On one of the pictures they are playing chess against a doctor. That hardly seems fair.
2 heads better than 1.
So it's 2 heads, 2 arms, and 4 legs. That's just 2 women in one dress.
Yeah, that's 2 women with an arm missing.
Yeah. Spoke to Ricky and his friend Glyn about art. I just don't get it. Ricky had some odd pictures on his walls. I don't have any pictures up in my flat because of the mirrored wall. But I can't say I'm bothered. The mirrored wall, we should just explain what that is. When you moved into your flat there was an enormous mirror on one wall, was that right?
We just got this flat, and you know, it's not a big flat, so I think the people who had it before us, he was a gay fella, right, which was a bit like, oh, so you've been doing with that mirror and that. But that was,
What?
no, just, you know. Just,
What has he been doing with the mirror?
Well,
What's he been doing? Why?
No, it's just because they're quite sort of experimental in it, aren't they? And
I don't know, what do you mean? What do they do?
Well, I wouldn't know anything about it, but go on.
No, what do you want? What?
no, I don't.
Experimental in what
What do
way?
you mean experimental?
I just mean, you know, they'd be doing stuff.
What?
Whatever they do.
Chemistry,
What?
have a chemistry set out, they'd be doing experiments, what?
No, just doing what.
Singing I Am What I Am and just checking out
No, each
the
to
dance
their own. I'm
moves.
not having a go at anyone, but
What?
I'm just saying, like, they're doing what they're doing, which
Carl, you're not
is
having a
annoying
phone
as well.
guy, yeah?
Because,
You're not
no, I'm not. I'm
What?
not. This is why.
Why are you worried about what a little gay fella was doing in your flat before you got it in front of a mirror?
I wasn't worried about it.
Why
I
are
mean,
you thinking about what he's doing? Why are you fantasising what a little gay fella was doing in front of your mirror in your...
I'm not bothered. I'm just telling you why it was a bit odd that he had a mirror in there, right? But forget the history.
But you've got a mirror in there now, haven't you?
No, because what I did was I was going to take it down, and I thought, oh, it's a bit dangerous. This, you know, it could crack and.
Because it's the
fall
size
on me.
of the whole wall, isn't it?
It took up a whole wall.
Right.
So like when he's moving about everywhere, he's got a good view of it and that. But he's got this full wall of mirror, and I thought I can't take that down. And I thought, what can I do? So I've just put wallpaper on it,
Brilliant.
and it looks all right. You wouldn't know, and what have you? But it means that I can't put any pictures up. That's all I'm saying. Because if I put a nail in,
And what don't you understand about art? What about art don't you understand? The concept? Specifics?
just the way some people like, you know, the ones you've got, where it's just like a block of colour on a bit of canvas. It's like, what's that? Just
Abstract. It's just abstract. It's you know, it's vibrancy of colour. It's a, you know, an attack on the senses. Or it could be, there could be something in there that you might see. You might not see first time round, or it could be, you know.
Yeah, but there's loads of stuff to look at without having to do that.
But
You've
that's
got
the point of-
windows. I can understand if you had a cell and there's no windows and you want a bit of colour, but you've got
Oh,
a
yeah.
window to look out of, and you've got like just a big block of.
But I was
Colour on
explaining
it.
this to you, that the photograph where people before, you know, the art was photography. It was realistic, and you know, they had to make it look like the subject. But then when cameras came in, that's when people started
Yeah,
doing surreal stuff. And
I
'cause
understand that.
Otherwise, there was no point to it. They had to find a new way to represent things that photography couldn't do as such.
No,
So-
that's like when we were in London having a shop around at Christmas, and there was that picture of fruit for 700 quid. It's like, well, just get some fruit. You know what I mean? You can get some real fruit for 3 quid.
Yeah.
I understand that, but there's nothing wrong with like having a. We'll get. Don't invent cameras then. One or the other. Do you know what I mean? That's what annoys me. Someone invents something, and then they go, "We've got to invent something else." Like the abstract thing. Why has someone gone? Oh, I can't have paintings anymore because.
What do you think of Dali? Going melting clocks and stuff. No?
I mean, the first one was alright when he did the first clock, but then all the time he's just like, oh, I'll draw something and it's got a melting clock on it. I'll do a sheep, put one of them on it.
Have you seen his lobster telephone?
That annoys me.
Why?
Because it's not, I mean, I think what annoyed me more with that is when I heard about how it happened, he had some artist mate round, right? And, I don't know what happened. They were
okay.
eating.
That's a hell of an anecdote.
No, but they were eating some food and what have you.
Yeah.
Lobsters?
And, yeah, they were eating lobster.
Oh, right.
And,
That's handy.
I don't know, the other artist, whoever it was, sort of
Telephone?
started saying, oh, you and your clocks and all that, right?
Brilliant.
And,
This didn't happen.
They
Yeah.
started arguing,
Yeah.
and he chucked some of the lobster.
Bollocks.
And it landed on the
It
phone.
bounced off his mate's head, went on the phone, and they both looked at each other like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And they brought out that phone as a bit of art. Things like that annoy me. Because
happen.
it was them just messing
That
about.
didn't happen.
Just telling you what I know. I saw his work. Each to their own, if that's what he's doing. I'm just saying, I'm not putting my stamp of approval on it.
Heaven forbid. Well, as you mentioned in your diary, your favourite artist is Lowry, because you can look at them for ages and see someone different every time you look at it.
All I'm saying is, art should be there to tell a story, not just to have a splash of colour. We know colour's out there, there's loads of colour. We don't need to be reminded of it.
But colour's part of our evolution, and so it does something to us. Just like sounds.
Yeah, but I'm saying, do a picture,
Smells.
colour it in. Still use the colours, but draw something with it rather than just going, bit of yellow, a bit of red. Like that when you've got just red and black. What's that meant to do?
Well, it does something.
What?
Well, I like it, I enjoy it, so it does something.
Yeah, you have it then. I'm just saying, I prefer it if it was something.
And so let me just get this right, you had a mirror on one wall, so you padded that wall,
It's just
and
sort
you
of,
padded
it's
the
just,
others.
It's just sort of wallpaper on it.
Right.
Amazing.
And there's no other art in there,
Not
it's just an empty cell.
Was Suzanne like some art? Just like Suzanne's not allowed to watch telly unless it's her favourite thing. Otherwise, she's got to talk to me about stuff. There's no art. There's no point. Just wallpaper.
I'm just saying, we've got three windows we can look out of.
Right.
Right? Stop looking at the walls. Look out the window.
Some new words have been introduced into the dictionary. Too many words. We should have some system where we can get rid of words if they aren't used a certain number of times.
Well, that we do.
They do die out, don't they, eventually?
Like what?
You don't have to use them.
No, but they don't, do they? They keep adding them. And I just worry about, this is the problem with, like, your head can only hold so much. Can't it?
Yeah.
It all very well when Adam and Eve was knocking about. There's no history, they don't have to remember anything. All I'm saying is, fine, bring out a new word, but once you bring out a new one, bin another one. The dictionary's getting bigger and bigger, no one's keeping an eye on it.
Well, I think they are.
They're not, they keep adding.
It doesn't grow. They don't just dig it up one day.
So-
it's got bigger. What have you done?
So you're
Left it out.
You're happy for them to stick in iPod, let's say.
But
you
we
know.
can pride ourselves on having more words in the English language than any other language. I think we've got twice as many as the second. I think maybe Russian. I'm not sure about that. I'm sure someone email us, but
But we don't talk the most, so there's a lot of clutter there.
what do you mean we don't talk the most?
Well, you'd say
Nothing
that.
as expressive as the English language.
Because we've got a word for everything. I'm just saying that I don't use all these words that are coming out, and I just think, like I say, keep an eye on it. Some sort of, I don't know how it can be controlled.
But Shakespeare invented words. I think Shakespeare invented about 1,200 words.
Yeah, and we're probably still using a lot of his. So why do
Yeah.
we keep sticking more in the pot?
Right.
Stop using loads of words.
People are panicking in New York about the snow they're getting. It's 2 foot deep. They're saying it's to do with global warming. I don't get it. 2 days ago they were saying the world's getting warmer and the ice is melting on one of the poles where the polar bears are. As long as we get snow on the world, does it matter where it goes? Read on the internet that heads are bigger now than they were years ago. Brains are getting bigger apparently. This is because we're being told too much information. We are told too much stuff about things that we wouldn't have known about years ago. You've just made that leap, haven't you? Presume maybe heads and brains are getting larger, but the fact that it's because there's too much information cramming in them. Where have you got that from?
As time goes on, isn't it? It's that thing of we're being taught more and more every day. As the time goes on, something's happening every day. You've got to remember that.
No, you haven't.
You have. It's the same, like I said, with the Adam and Eve thing. They didn't have that much to remember. They come on the world, they go, what happened yesterday? Oh, not much,
My mum phoned and said that my Auntie Nora, the classic Auntie Nora, wanted me to look on the internet to find out what the weather will be like in Spain at the end of November. I don't know where she gets her money from. 2 months ago, she was asking me, Dad, how much it would be to get her back garden astroturfed because she's sick and tired of the grass getting out of
What does
hand.
she want to do? Start a football team? What does she want a back garden astroturf?
She likes the sort of green look, but she doesn't like the headache that comes with it, so she's just looking into getting that false grass put in there.
Brilliant.
Don't know how much it is. But.
Went round to Ricky's and had some chicken curry that Ricky's girlfriend Jane had made. Ricky and Jane were going on holiday for a few days and had arranged for Glyn to come in and make sure the cat was okay while they were away. I'm sick of that cat. I was surprised that they hadn't paid for the little shit to go away with them on first class. Blimey, getting a bit vitriolic in the diary.
Why doesn't he like the fact that I've got a cat and I love the cat? Why?
It's just everything in that house that you've got gets sort of special treatment, and it's a cat, and it
What do you mean
annoys
you get
me.
special treatment?
Sometimes
We put food down for it, and sometimes it gets on our lap and we stroke it.
You don't just stroke it,
we're
you
not sending
massage it. You massage its back, you go, no, you're stressed out.
Well, no,
You're
it's
stressed
good.
out.
No, I'm not saying you stressed out. At no point did I say you stressed out. You said, what the fuck are you doing for? Is it stressed out or something? I like touching my cat.
To be honest with you, I don't like Ricky's cat.
Oh, I can't believe
Because every time I go around there, it goes straight for my ghoulies.
yeah,
Instantly.
He'd probably seen you in the sea and thought, well, if he's waving it about, I'll have a bit of that.
But it's like the lizard thing you've got. It's just sat there. You've bought a big box, right, to be in.
Right,
And the
one,
last
it's a salamander, so it's an amphibian. It's
Yeah.
not a box, it's a big vivarium.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
And
is...
as it, and if you're going to criticise someone for just sitting there, having a round head and doing nothing with its life, people who live in glass houses,
No,
we've
but
done this one.
Do you know what gets me though, right, Steve? When I was there, I was looking at it, and I thought, is it dead? Right, because he's just sat there, like...
And it was thinking exactly the same fucking
He sat
thing.
there, not moving, right? And then on the top of the box is like a box full of crickets and stuff. That's it. It's food.
Yeah.
Right? But they were more active than the thing that it was going to feed. Get rid of the lizards. Keep them in there. More entertaining. Don't understand it.
A few months back, a girl who was having a kid showed me one of them scans of the kid that was in her. That's science gone mad, innit? I couldn't think of anything nice to say, as it looked like a frog.
Do you know why we've got to that point?
What?
Why have we got to see something that young? Why?
Because people can keep an eye on the progress of the baby in the womb.
Yeah, but why are they printing it out and stuff? Surely that's for a doctor to see.
Well, that's just an added bonus for people who are interested in such
But that's
things.
like saying, why do you take pictures of anything?
No, because normally pictures are like, you know, in Brazil, sat in the sea or whatever. You'd go, oh yeah, I remember that day, it was a good day or whatever. But
Wasn't.
it's just kind of like, why have you got to see something? You might as well.
Well,
go
you
to the next-
just started listening. Why have you got to see something that small? So why would you take a picture of Steve in the sea?
No, but what I mean is, why? At what point are we going to stop? Are we going to start sort of X-raying the fella's testicles and saying, well, there it is at a really young age? Well, where are we going to stop?
It's just horses for courses, isn't it? Some people like to have a record of their baby in the womb. They
That's
like
right.
to show the baby. They're
They sit
excited
down-
about it.
They sit down and they show the friends the slideshow. That's
you
the
go.
birth. Oh, that's the conception. Oh, look, Ron's going a bit mad there, isn't he?
But why do I need to see this? This is what I'm saying. It was an awkward situation because she was happy with it. I was like, oh God. Do you know what I mean? It was an odd-looking thing. I couldn't say, oh, it looks like you, because that would be a diss.
Oh, Christ!
Met Suzanne at Euston Station. I said I would sort out the tea tonight, so I called the curry house. The fella couldn't understand me. I asked for 2 poppadoms. He kept saying, how many? I kept saying 2. He still couldn't understand. I said 1 more than 1. He understood. When we picked up the food and took it home, there were 5 poppadoms in the bag.
Oh, God! Oh, God.
There is a restaurant somewhere that sells knobs to eat.
No, there's not.
There is.
No, there's not.
No, there is.
It says that women can't eat too many of them, and if you want a seal's knob for dinner, you have to book in advance.
Right, it's gobbledygook. This is the ramblings of a madman again.
It's a trend, he writes. It won't last long. It'll be like hummus.
But hummus, when did that happen?
What do you mean? It's still going. It's a Greek traditional food.
I know, but there's there's a restaurant down the road that's all they do. That isn't a proper that's a side order, isn't it? That's like having a restaurant just flogging tomato ketchup. hummus isn't a meal. They don't even try and kid you and get you in and flog you just hummus. They actually say it's hummus today. Not going to work. Be shut down within a month.
Called Ricky and asked what the difference is between the mind and the brain.
Yeah, he did.
That's a hell of a phone call
Yeah,
to get.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Ricky did explain, but I can't remember what he said. I wondered at what age you are when the mind kicks in. Okay. Ricky changed the subject and said there is an island called Spider Island. There's nothing but spiders on it. A bloke went to visit the island and said there was 1,000 types of spider in one tree.
Yeah.
Excited by that?
I didn't tell you that.
No, I looked it up after talking to you.
Oh, right. Is that true?
Yeah, they just said there's loads of them.
What do you think about that? What do you think of an island that's just full of spiders?
It's a bit daft, isn't it?
What do you think they should do then?
I don't know, because you need spiders. I don't know what they do, but they say a world without spiders, like, wouldn't be good.
Who says that?
I don't know, someone. But they sort of do something. There's something about if you did get rid of them all, it would have an effect.
Well, of course it would. Get rid of anything, it'd have an effect.
Not everything, though. Like I've said, you know, jellyfish and what have you.
Well, no.
The world wouldn't change.
Well, it would.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, it would, because it's part of the ecosystem, so they're something's food, aren't they?
No, but it's 97% water or something.
Yeah.
So how much are they doing? Just give them another 3%, make them water. And that's more useful.
Give them another 3% and make them water. Oh God.
The rain ain't stopped. The old woman with the bent neck. Now, we've not heard about the old woman with the bent neck
Who's the
before.
old woman
She's
with
a
the
whole
bent
new
neck? What's
character.
this? Incredible.
She's really old.
And she's got a bent neck, yeah, but tell us something else.
I don't know what's up with her, but her head sort of comes out of here.
No, it's radio. They can't see what you're
Sort
doing.
of comes out of her chest. So from behind it looks like she hasn't got an head. It's really weird, right? I mean, she's old, and I don't know what's happened. Just Suzanne said it's sad, and the bones have sort of bent up or something, or maybe she carried something heavy when she was younger.
On her head.
And, you know, I don't know, it's sad and everything.
Yeah.
But she's wandering up and down the street, always looks fed up, but you can see her, you have to sort of bend down a little bit. But her head's just, I thought I'd told you about
She
it
finds a
before.
lot of change.
I said, yeah.
Well, as you write in the diary, the old woman with the bent neck is struggling in the weather. The rain must be running down her back. Don't know why she went out in this weather. Me back's doing me head in today. It does this every time the weather turns a bit grim, ever since I tried to kick me height. Oh, remember that? We've heard this before. Kicked me height and landed on me arse.